In my own love for all things holy, I'm going to use Ambika Walters' angel cards and her book, The Angel Oracle, to discuss and contemplate four angels of love that she portrays. The guardian angel of young love,
You're so pure.
the miracle of love,
You are so dirty.
the essence of
I
love,
walk with the angels.
the essence of love, and also the angel of eternal love.
Walk with the
The
angels.
angel of eternal love. So there they are.
I walk
And
with the angels.
I don't have enough time to take up all the angels that she discusses in her angel oracle. So I'm going to take up these four love angels, as they're very suitable to tonight's theme. Now, for all you scientists and skeptics out there, a show about angels is probably not going to sound all that appealing to you. But Ms. Ambika Walters has done her homework, and she quotes a famous German scientist named Robert Steiner from the early 1900s who studied and researched that angels help mankind to achieve a higher level of inner development, as well as live healthy, orderly lives, helping the rest of humanity to evolve. We only receive angel images and messages, he says, from the right hemisphere of the brain. We are an extremely left hemisphered society. Don't you know it? And as a result, we are very analytical, judgmental, and we dissect. And we have a great deal of division and disagreement, destruction, discrimination, divorce, and for lack of a better D word, a lot of war. The right hemisphere, on the other hand, has a synthetic function, which means that it brings together information and forms images of it. It's that part of the brain that works with music, color, and touch. It is inclusive rather than exclusive. And our conclusions take on a metaphoric quality. When we find pleasure in art and music and beauty and dance and touch and spirituality and even lovemaking, it opens us up to receiving messages of an angelic sort, a divine sort, a rarely experienced sort, an unbelievable sort. We don't have the exact words to describe it, sort. What we seek as human beings is a balance between our two brain hemispheres, or life becomes dull and loveless, passionless. Now, that little aside there was for you skeptics and scientists. For those of us whose spirituality has become or is becoming a second nature as our breathing, well, maybe not quite our breathing, but maybe a second nature as having a cup of tea or coffee, we know that God and angels exist. So don't bother arguing with us. When we don't have the angelic in our lives, our experiences often don't seem that joyful. This is it. You know, there's nothing else. It's just your 9 to 5 or a split shifty or graveyard work week. It's fast food, it's deadlines, it's the 1,001 places to be, and your kids have to be. It's making impressions and being restrained. It's more on the surface, although it can affect us really deeply in a bad way. Time either goes terribly quickly or painfully slowly. And it's hard not to be pessimistic and cynical when you're in that cycle. So here is Valentine's Day, or whatever day you happen to be watching this, because it's appropriate whenever. And here are the angels of love to give you a fresh perspective, a metaphor for your thinking processes with respect to all the love that's out there and that you give and that you receive. Here is some faith from someone who will believe you when you tell her that you talk to angels, maybe even regularly. Ambika Waters, actually. Ambika Waters has been studying angels for a great number of years. And one of the angels she writes about is the guardian angel of young love. And this angel protects all people who fall in love, young and old, because there is something very youthful about falling in love. Now, this guardian angel will guide you, says Ambika Waters, toward a potential partner, helping you feel attracted to the very people who will respect your individuality and allow you to feel safe in expressing yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking. How many people have I been attracted to that did not, in fact, respond to positively or respect my individuality, and never really made me feel safe in expressing myself? Hell, my husband, my wife doesn't do that. Okay, now, I'm a little weird, as you know, and I found it very difficult over the years to find someone who creates a safe haven for me to share my thoughts and my fears and my opinions without judging me sometimes or trying to give me advice for how to change myself to their molding. But sometimes that is just as much my fault, sometimes. I don't think I make the other person feel overly comfortable in expressing himself, because I take the things he says very personally, and I just don't feel good when people have, especially when my lover has like a totally opposite or even differing opinion than mine. That's a big problem in relationships, that we really do expect the other person to think like we do. We expect them to be a kindred spirit, and more often they are not, and they don't think like we do, and they're not going to. Their history, their upbringing, their personality, you just can't change that person's background or even that person's sex. You know, sometimes if you're not a lesbian, you kind of wish you were a lesbian because you think only women could possibly understand you. But when you seek the guardian angel of young love to give you assistance or feel an angelic divine presence of a sort in your relationships, keep in mind that you must be willing to be a protector of the other's thoughts and ideas and decisions, when those ideas and decisions particularly don't seem very divine and your relationship doesn't seem that great, because their decisions and ideas may differ widely from yours. And sometimes those ideas and decisions and their behavior is somehow intended to be damaging or manipulative towards you. You may meet someone who actually excludes you in some pretty definitive and obvious ways, maybe covert ways, but maybe you deep down it's not right. Or perhaps they place rather forcefully a great obstacle in your cherished friendships and pastimes. And the guardian angel of young love can be called upon to bless us and protect us from these sorts of people, says Ambika Walters. We also call upon the guardian angel of young love when our relationships become stale or stagnant and they need renewing and recharging. This angel can revitalize your sexuality as well as encourage intimacy with people, friends and lovers who really do value us and see our light and beauty. Waters writes that this angel assists us in enhancing our self-worth. In the presence of this guardian angel, we are respectful of our own bodies and gentle with our feelings. She allows us to be vulnerable without being overwhelmed by our insecurity. And she assists us when we like to form a connection with someone. She blesses our purity, Waters states, so that we can openly express the love in our hearts. Hey, Angel, I got something to tell you, girlfriend. Oh yeah? What is it? I think I'm falling in love. No way, my baby girl don't fall in love. I'm not joking. Yeah? So what's so great about this guy? Ha! What's he like, girl? I gotta tell you. He's a good-looking guy, but not narcissistic, smart and composed. He never goes ballistic. I'm sick of bad tempers and he doesn't have one. With the last guy, that's how I knew we were done. He looks bloody great, but he's so not perfect. He's kinda got zits, but they're totally worth it. Beautiful eyes, the windows to his soul. When he looks at me long, I get my panties in a roll. He's just so different. He asks me so many questions. When I got problems, he gives me like all these suggestions. The more I get to know him, the more I go crazy. Don't know if he knows how much he amazes me. He has a couple sisters, so I think he knows girls. His mom is Naomi and his stepdad is Earl. The way he helps his family and the way that he laughs, brother calls him pencil neck, but I'd say a giraffe. Damn, you've got it bad this time. I didn't think you'd ever be so head over heels. Shut up, don't bug me, Angel. I'm serious. So does he know how much you like him? I don't know, we're into each other, but we never say it out loud. So what are you waiting for? I don't know, I'm scared, like maybe he's just an overly nice guy or something. You really care about this dude, don't you? I think you should just go for it. So what would you tell him if you knew he was into you? I'd tell him, check it out, lover boy, I got something to say. You treat me so well, you're like a sunbeam ray. How I feel about you is like never before. My you-know-what throbs, and my head's so sore. I knew you were awesome, but not this much. I think about kissing you and wait for your touch. You make me feel so liked, so cool, so worthy. I can be a foxy lady or I can be all girly. Tonight it's black leather and a necklace all pearly. The moment you come knocking on my door this eve, I'll have my father meet you and he won't believe. You're just the sort of guy that he'd want me to marry. He'll surely bless our love and all the babies I'll carry. You might want to tone it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Think so? He's at the door to your room there. I'm not quite sure how long he's been standing there, but... OMG, Angel! Did you set this up? Your dad sent him up here. I had no time to stop it with you blabbering on like some lovesick puppy. You met my dad? Yeah, girl, he's cool. You're cool. Oh, well, there goes my big secret. It's all good. Who you talking to anyways? The next angel we're going to discuss tonight is called the angel of the miracle of love. Now this love comes in different forms, and it's about knowing God's love. Knowing a love that comes from something other with a capital O. Waters states that for one person that love might be through parenthood. For another it might be through a spiritual or therapeutic community. For others, it comes from a deeply personal relationship. Few of us are lucky enough to be able to experience all these forms of love in such a godly fashion. It's hard, though, to be open to the miracle of love when our days are filled with negativity. We can really take this love for granted, or some of us take it a few steps further and treat it abusively in some fashion. The more clear we are in ourselves, says Ambika Waters, the less of a chance we will expose the love in our lives to the wrong kind of energy. So the question is, how do we stay clean? And what does staying clean mean to you? Because it's different for everybody. Staying clean and not being addicted to something, perhaps. Alcohol and drugs are the most obvious ones. But what about, spending too much money, or hoarding, or wallowing in self-pity or jealousy? These are other examples of not being clean enough to take in the love that you've been blessed with. Not being clean enough to see the love in our lives as a blessing. Now, let's say something horrible happened, like we got kidnapped by some kind of torturer. And in other words, we were taken away from this love in our lives by force. Well, we would very likely be longing for that love in our life back. That love that is so simple in a way. In certain environments and with certain creatures, human or animal, we're treated well in some very important ways. From our family, our loved ones, our pets, rather effortlessly, and without us having to be out of character or restrained or faking who we are. We can just be as we also take on our roles as responsible adults. And after a while, that can seem kind of boring, kind of meh, kind of ho-hum. Role play and fantasy and ecstasy and fame or whatever, all that seems so much more appealing. Like, oh, big deal, I have an affectionate tabby cat who barfs on a fairly regular basis, a cuddly husband with a jiggly soft beer belly, a chubby doting wife who wears old black leggings and she jiggles around a lot too. Why can't I have something a little better, a little more sophisticated? I'm sophisticated. Or, hell, I haven't had a lover for years. Why am I still single and dominated by my mother? I love her, but she's so annoying. Now, love is only a miracle to those of us who see it so. The eye at the top of this card represents the symbol for the heaven of paradise. Your eyes have to be open, your heart has to be open to partake in experiencing the miracle. Now, I want you to think about the love in your life right now. As limited as it may be, who is most prominent when you think of love right now? If you don't have anybody, I guess you're going to have to think of yourself. Who do you think of when you think of true love and acceptance and even encouragement? Is it your husband, your wife, your lover, your child, a parent, your pet maybe, your friend who stands out for you right at this moment? It might be more than one person. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic to be experienced as a miracle. Although, it's easier to experience it as a miracle when you're in love. The definition of a miracle is a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. Sometimes a loved one really surprises us by the way they react or the things that they just do for us. Now I'm going to sing here. I'm going to use a microphone today just because I got a bit of reverb here and my voice might actually sound a bit better to me. I doubt it'll sound any better for you. I cried a tear, you wiped it dry. I was confused, you cleared my mind. I sold my soul, you bought it back for me and held me up and gave me dignity. Somehow you needed me. You gave me strength to stand alone again, to face the world out on my own again. You put me high upon a pedestal, so high that I could almost see eternity. You needed me. You needed me. Nope, didn't sound much better. Sometimes, however, we have to be the ones to reach out and give the love that others so deserve. Show them that they are needed, because in fact they are. And this brings us to the angel of the essence of love. This angel helps you to realize that at your core, you are love. Your essence is love. And Bika Waters says that this angel unfolds us from the limited cocoon of our ego and be the magnificent creatures of light that we are. Now, two things that really screw us up and block us in our metamorphosis from, ego to soul are, number one, the illusion of our personality, and number two, the destructive nature of our negativity, which I've talked about a bit already. Our personality is kind of a construct of our own making, of our environment's making. We have a lot of labels put on us from the time that we are very young. Sometimes overtly and other times covertly, and these labels make us think that we have to continue to act in a certain way in order to be loved and accepted ourselves. We want to be good looking in the way that others and the media define good looking. We'd like to be seen as smart and or talented, maybe athletic or musical or outstandingly artistic. We want to be interesting and have interesting stories to tell, so we embellish a lot. Well, I do. So we're so busy with our personalities that I probably waste a lot of time. Rather than tuning into that inner divinity that we share with the source, that radiates love like this angel here. You see the eye above her, which is the heaven of paradise, casting beams throughout the universe. If we were to at least once in a while just be our true selves, just be still, just be present to the situation in front of us, the situation around us, rather than planning for tomorrow and the particular places and prizes our personalities are going to take pleasure from. We might recognize how easy it is to give love and how wonderful of a gift it is to others to be truly tended to. Now, there are those of us who have recently or quite some time ago lost love, either through a breakup, a separation, a divorce, or a death. Some people have experienced what seems like a very unnecessary and undeserving amount of loss in their life. The angel of eternal love is a source of comfort and solace for anyone who grieves for lost love. Love itself is eternal and cannot be lost. Through meditation and deep thought, Ambika Waters reminds us that love can be re-experienced. It doesn't die with the physical body. Our spirit holds the memory of love. It becomes part of us, and it furthers our development as human beings. When people are true soulmates, they will find one another again, whether on the physical plane or another one. Ambika Waters says that we often live day to day with a veil of unconsciousness that stands between us and our awareness of eternal love. Waters says we can consciously choose to remember past loves and strong relationships with lovers, friends, teachers, in fact, anyone with whom we shared love. Now, obviously, I myself very, very recently lost someone in my life. A very, very cherished pet. My cat. She was with me for 18 years, since she was just 4 weeks old. And I feel so silly, but I had no idea how painful it could be to lose a pet. Her softness and her smell and her purring and her meowing communication. It's difficult for me to get used to the fact that I'm never going to see her again on this physical earth. And it's also difficult for me to get rid of that image in my head of her at the veterinarian's office being put down. Another hard thought to bear is that she may no longer be thinking of me anymore now that she's passed on. I only have the memories of the time that I spent with her, which are very good ones. To the rest of you who've experienced great loss in whatever way, I hope you're able to get some solace from your memories and from your constant pull towards their energy. It certainly wasn't a loss for us to have experienced this great love. And there are so many of us out here who understand your pain and your very strong memories. This song is for you and for the love that you feel and will always very likely feel towards a cherished individual. Just know that I hope, as you hope, that the two of you are communicating at present by having created a beautiful life and world together in the past. Stay with me, my love. I hope you'll always be right here by my side if ever I need you. Oh, my love, I will follow you. Will you follow me all the days and nights that we know will be? I will stay with you. Will you stay with me? Just one single tear in each passing year there will be.